We have failed yet another major order. Again, not exactly the way I wanted to kick off this video, but you know, that's the reality. And it may be time for Game Master Joel to adjust these MOs to reflect tasks that are achievable with our current diver forces. Kind of like this jiggly bug you see right here. It needs some help. Welcome to the channel. This is LtBuzzLitebeer, and besides this MO discussion, there's actually a much more interesting one floating around on Reddit concerning time to kill, and it really nails the concept of where Helldivers gets it right and where it needs help. Thanks again for your awesome support. Remember to hit subscribe and ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. And here we dive into the latest with our favorite democracy crazy shooter, Helldivers. Here is the major order the way it looked a bit earlier this morning with 3 hours to go, and we were sitting at roughly 2.708 billion kills. Now, a few videos ago, I theorized, based on weekend percentage increases, that if we could match that early this week, we would be entering today needing roughly 500-ish million kills in 24 hours. In reality, we got to that point with about 4 hours remaining in the major order, a full 20 hours off pace. That 3.142 billion kill count felt like a bridge too far, and I was worried, and I said as much the day I posted that video, and yeah, here we are again, kind of close, yet so far away from achieving victory. Before I move over to what needs to happen in the future with these MOs, today's daily or personal order is to get 50 kills with the autocannon, and notice it does not say autocannon sentry, so this is the autocannon rifle, which honestly should be pretty easy to accomplish, as it is a great stratagem weapon that you can rock as a primary. Anyways, squad up, knock out 50 kills and net yourself 15 medals, and happy hunting. Game Master Joel needs to have a good sit down and a strong reevaluation session on these major order tasks. Now, I will reference Reddit in just a moment on another topic, but for now, it's just me rattling all of this off the top of my head, and I'm sure I'm not alone here, but seriously, 3+ billion kills when our Helldiver reinforcements are basically at an all-time low is just too much. I'm not looking for an easier game here, far from it. And this is coming from someone that hot drops on Helldive difficulty just for the sheer fun of the mayhem and chaos, but just taking a look at these average Steam player counts, and for basic approximations, we are averaging around 50,000 PC players. Yes, there are peaks touching 100k and valleys where it drops quite a bit below 50k, but you know, for shits and giggles, let's use 50,000 players on PC at any given time, and this does not include PS5. Again, I'm just going to throw a number out there for PlayStation, say another 50,000 players, so Helldivers is basically averaging 100,000 players at any time of day over the past week. The requirements for this MO placed on us by Game Master Joel was 3.142 billion kills divided by that 100,000 player average, and you get 31,415 kills required by each player just so we could hit that kill count objective. I honestly don't know how much time everyone out there plays, but 31.4k sounds like a bunch of kills per player, like far above what a normal diver could actually handle. Who knows? Maybe it's just me, and maybe we are meant to fail this one, just like many of the previous major orders. I can't definitively say what Joel has planned for us, but those numbers are just not realistic, at least not to me. Time to kill is not the problem. Now, we saw Johan state that he thought the overall issue with Helldivers right now is that TTK was too high, and he's right to a degree. This Reddit post with over 3,300 upvotes takes that TTK discussion and really breaks it down into an easily understood kind of nuts and bolts format. Quote, TTK, time to kill, is not the problem. Optimal TTK versus non-optimal TTK is. And quick disclaimer here, and this is just me talking right now, not the article, but this post takes a while to get through, but it's well worth it, trust me. All right, here we go. Important terms: TTK, time to kill, the amount of time from the moment you begin shooting until your target dies. optimal TTK, the amount of time to kill when landing weak point hits or critical hits. Non-optimal TTK, the amount of time to kill when landing non-weak point hits. Helldivers 2 is probably the game with the biggest difference in optimal and non-optimal TTK of any game I have ever seen. This is an experience that players are not used to, and it's one that is responsible for the complete disconnect between balance and the experience of most players. In most games, optimal and non-optimal TTK are relatively close, with optimal TTK being a reward for good aim rather than non-optimal TTK being a punishment for average aim. In Helldivers 2, landing weak spot hits is firmly in the mandatory camp rather than a reward. And then they take it a step further and they spell out some of the most egregious examples of optimal TTK versus non-optimal. Just listen to these. It says anti-tank, Bile Titan versus recoilless or Quasar. Optimal TTK, 2 headshots. And it says recoilless takes 6 seconds, Quasar, 21 total seconds. Non-optimal TTK, 8 body shots. Check that out. Recoilless, 42 seconds, requires a resupply as well. The Quasar cannon's going to take you a whopping 129 seconds to finally drop that Bile Titan. Chargers versus recoilless or Quasar. Optimal TTK, 1 headshot, both with the recoilless and Quasar, which takes 3 seconds. Non-optimal TTK, 3 body shots. For a recoilless, that's 12 seconds, and a Quasar, 54 seconds. And then they actually go into primary weapons. And this is where it starts to get doubly interesting. Devastators versus Liberator Pen. Optimal TTK, 3 headshots, takes 0.3 seconds. Non-optimal TTK, a whopping 45 body shots. That's 8 seconds, including a reload thrown in there as well. Now, as I was reading through this post, I just kept finding myself nodding and saying things out loud like true, facts, and yep. I mean, we really have this huge gap between the optimal and non-optimal TTKs, but you know, the post isn't done yet because they take it a step even further and explain why we choose the weapons that we do. Quote, "This trend repeats through the entire gun roster. The guns that people use are the only guns that don't follow this rule," and this kind of blew my mind. For instance, the Breaker Incendiary versus all, so it's basically every target. No matter what you shoot enemies, the dot kills them in a fairly consistent time frame. Bots in particular don't care where you shoot them, they die in a similar time frame. The Jar 5 Dom versus Devastators, optimal TTK, 1 headshot, 0 seconds. Non-optimal TTK, 3 to 4 torso shots, 0.75 to maybe 1 second. You also have an example here like the Plaz 1 Scorcher versus those same Devastators. Optimal TTK, 2 headshots, which takes a quarter of a second. Non-optimal TTK, 7 torso shots, 1.75 seconds. And here's where it all starts to come together. Just take a listen to this overall conclusion. While every single gun is capable of beaming enemies down in a very short time frame, the good guns are the ones where failing to hit the optimal TTK is not overly punished. There isn't a single player of this game who is nailing the optimal TTK on every enemy and every fight. The nature of this game makes this impossible. You can't expect players to take upwards of 8 seconds to kill an enemy in a game where a standard fight has you engage 15 or 20 of these enemies. The overall TTK does not need to go down. The non-optimal TTK needs to be compressed closer to the optimal TTK for a larger number of weapons so that when not hitting constant headshots, players don't feel helpless. Amen to all of this, especially that conclusion statement, right? Mind blown. I mean, I do choose the Breaker Incendiary, Dominator, and the Scorcher for exactly these reasons. Again, I don't get this in-depth with my weapon breakdowns for Helldivers. I mean, I don't operate with a massive Excel spreadsheet because for me, these weapons just get the job done. I don't need a bunch of stats. They're both effective and efficient. But I love how this thread kind of dives into a Helldiver's mind and explains why we do the things that we do. excellent Reddit post here, and I'm going to leave a link to this in the video description. And circling back around to Johan, his new role as CCO, or Chief Creative Officer, and the entire weapon balancing TTK discussion, here is the basics of where the dev team needs to start with all of this. This one quote keeps playing back in my mind minute after minute. It says, every gun is capable of dropping enemies in a very short time frame. The good guns are the ones where failing to hit the optimal TTK is not overly punishing. Tell me what you thought overall of this article down in the video description. Leave me some feedback, and again, check for that link in the video description. And wouldn't you know it, true to form, as I was getting ready to render this video and upload to YouTube, we get the failure notice and the new major order. So here's all the breaking news with the Helldiver HQ dispatches. It reads, failed. Huge quantities of Terminids and automatons have been righteously terminated by the valiant Helldivers, but unfortunately, the death toll was not extreme enough to significantly stoke the pro-war enthusiasm of the already unquestionably patriotic citizens of Super Earth. That even such a massive demonstration of military capability failed to sway our citizens is a testament to both the pre-existing heights of their loyalty and the incredible prowess they have come to expect from the elite Helldivers. Though this effort has not yielded the results we had hoped, the citizens of Super Earth will continue to support the war effort with unquestionable unity and grim determination, yearning for a more hopeful future. All right, so we failed. Let's check out now the new task. Surveillance satellite security has acquired imagery of a massive automaton factory on the planet Varelia 5. Structural analysis indicates a clear resemblance to the famed Morgunson Arsenal on Tien Quan. Clearly, this is a crude attempt at replicating the quality craftsmanship of that facility. But this automaton petafactory, as enemy transmissions call it, is merely an aberrant imitation. Its only purpose is to mass-produce weapons of war in order to further the automaton's totalitarian agenda. Its worker drones are forced to labor non-stop, and the environmental impacts are devastating. However, this undemocratic abomination may yet be turned to an instrument of freedom. Here it comes, Helldivers. With low-cost alterations, the petafactory could be retrofitted to allow the construction of a dual autocannon exosuit variant, the Exo 49 Emancipator exosuit. The Helldivers are ordered to liberate Varelia 5 immediately, before it becomes too despotic to salvage. And of course, we're going to hop over here to the galactic map and take a look. There's Varelia 5 deep over in Bottsville. I don't know about this one, divers. 5-day major order, one planet. It says liberate the designated planet. The only thing listed there is Varelia 5. I mean, in the olden days, we could knock that out in 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours. Now we get 5 days. I understand the increase in the time frame, but I foresee some wrinkles with this one. Game Master Joel just wouldn't set it out there and put such a beautiful piece of bait at the end of this line. A brand new exosuit, and all we have to do is liberate one planet in 5 days. Let me know, first off, what you think of this new exosuit variant that has multiple autocannons for armaments, but also, do you think I'm on the right page with thinking that Joel is going to throw some wrinkles at us? Let me know down in the comment section below. Okay, so for today, we've got plenty of beautiful discussion topics, and I look forward to reading some of your feedback again down in the comments. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts, all my socials, including an open invite link to my fast-growing and awesome Helldivers Discord community can be found also down in the video description. Shout out to the now over 229,000 of you beautiful ladies and gentlemen from around the world who continually tune in and support my content and my channel. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.